Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody had a lovely week and weekend this beautiful April. We have 11 sales this past weekend to talk about, which is, yes, less than last week. However, it's more than zero, which is always what we want to hear. First of all, though, there will be no sourcing video this week. Me and Lane and Lincoln went to Fart Around Friday. We went to a couple sales, and it was... You can't say a waste of time because a good time is never a waste of time. However, it was unsuccessful in the sourcing department unless you care about a video game that I overpaid for. But I did go to the Stuff, etc. and look for some packing materials, and look what I found. A ginormous roll of thermal printer labels for $7, and there are a lot, and that is a huge savings if you know what the price of thermal labels are. So I'm happy with that. But let's talk about sales this past weekend. 11 total, 3 on Friday, 6 on Saturday, and only 2 on Sunday. Quick cross-listing update this past week's Monday through Thursday. I had only 3 sales with the cross-list platform, all 3 on Vinted. And throughout the weekend, we will talk about 3 sales from other platforms other than eBay. 1 on Dibdit, 1 on Mercari, and 1 on Poshmark. So let's rattle through all the sales from the weekend. First up, the other cap gun. We saw the first cap gun go last weekend for $44. This one went for $49. I paid $5 for this at the Ben Franklin buyout, just about breaking even. I have one more sale this weekend to talk about from that buy, which we'll get to later, but that is going to Missoula, Montana. That cap gun is a vintage 2005 Tootsie Toy Dakota American West, still new in the package. They are a biscuit to ship. I shipped my first one last week, and it was the first time I sent a triangle shaped box. So pretty interesting. That sold on eBay and was the only eBay sale of Friday, because then I sold this cute little cat with a umbrella and a cardinal bird sun catcher without the suction and hook, of course, but still a nice, beautiful piece. I actually sourced this on Dibdit. There was a bundle. Shout out Lady Arbitrage. She was selling a bundle of sun catchers, and I think in total I paid $4 and change for all 3 of them. I kept 2 of them because I like them. One's a cardinal and one is a lighthouse. And then there was this one, which I do like cats as well, but how many sun catchers do you really need, folks, on one window? So I listed and sold this one rather quickly. Not a huge sale, it was $7, so it actually paid for all the sun catchers. And it sold on Dibdit as well. Bought it on Dibdit on live auction, sold it on Dibdit, static sale for $7, going to Supply, North Carolina. And then our final sale on Friday was this Case Logic cassette carrying case. It has a 30 tape capacity, and it is in great condition. Still beautiful padding on the interior. And what you want to check out if you are selling these is these little... The brackets, the dividers often get chipped and broken, and then it's not going to hold those cassettes very well, folks. But that one sold for $14. I got that for $2. Actually, I put $2, but it was in the fill a bag for $5 sale where I spent $10 on 2 very large sacks of goodies. And that is going to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and that sold on Mercari, my only Mercari sale of the weekend. Then we're gonna blue skidoo weekend 2 right into Saturday, and our first sale, an Amoco replica gas pump. Cool little piece, new in the box from, I believe, 1997. Didn't have to believe anything because I can look and it's right there. That's called a fact, folks. And that sold for $18. I got that for $1 at Fall Garage Sales. That's going to Greer, South Carolina. Then one little bundle of Lane and Lincoln's clothes. These are some size 24 months. This is a bundle of 4 short sleeve and short outfits. There's a baby shark, there's a Mickey and Goofy pajama set, a dinosaur set, and another Mickey Mouse set. So 4 sets. And you can get kids' clothes from me cheap, folks. I want it gone. This set sold for $6, and it's going to Chesterfield, Virginia. Thank you very much if you're watching and you bought it. Then we're going to go with this. I always talk about how modern day fan shop doesn't do very well for me, and that continues, so I'm not going to buy very much I don't want to buy fan shop unless it's new with tags or vintage, because this is modern. But I think what really hurt it is there is a spot of discoloration on the front. This was sat for a long time. I got it for $1 and it sold for $5, and it's going to Springfield, Oregon. Now, if it said Oakland Raiders on there, it would be better, because they're now the Las Vegas Raiders. So. Then, a VCR, folks. A VCR, Sylvania VCR. I threw in some connector cables with it, but it does not have the remote, but it is tested working, and it is from 1988. It sold for $30. I got that for $2.50, and it's going to Forest City, North Carolina. I got that at an estate sale. And then we always got to shout out the longest listed item of the weekend, and it's my fault, folks. Look at this. Ruby-dooby-doo! Yes, folks, a little Ruby-dooby-doo, Scooby-dooby-doo. My childhood in a plush, folks. Honestly, I should have just kept it. Now, here's the thing. Why did a Scooby-Doo, 2007, so not very old, sit for so long? Well, here's the deal, folks. I actually got this at a Goodwill for 99 cents well over a year ago. This is the longest listed item. I listed this last January. So nearly a year and a half this thing's been listed, and I marked it down, tried several live auctions. It didn't sell. Why didn't it sell? Because he had a few fuzzies on him when I went to list him initially, so I took the old lint roller to him. And what did I do with that lint roller? I mutilated his collar. I tore it straight off, and I did that with a lint roller. And if you want Scooby-Doo, you don't want Scooby-Doo with a torn up collar, certainly not. So he finally sold, I accepted an offer for $3 going to Louisville, Texas, is Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Certainly would have sold quicker and better if I wouldn't have done that. Also, this I got so long ago, was before I got my light box last year. And so the pictures weren't very good. And I, although switched to the light box immediately, I did not go back and redo pictures for things I already had listed. So sometimes I look when something really old sells and I'm like, yikes, what was I doing there? And our final sale of Saturtag came in the form of something straight out of the closet of Tony. And it's sold over on Poshmark. It is a Dexter t-shirt, men's size large, a little snug on me these days. So I actually attempted to initially sell this on live auction on Dibd on my men's Threads show a couple months ago for like a couple bucks, and it didn't sell, so I listed it, and it sold for $10, and I don't know where it's going because it's sold on Poshmark and I haven't shipped it yet. And then only 2 sales on Sunday, and don't get excited because they are not exciting. First of all, Dexter is phenomenal, by the way. If you haven't watched Dexter, go back and watch Dexter, at least the first 4 seasons. And then you can skip right over not New Blood. You can skip right over the one where he's in Alaska. Just get a highlight reel and watch that. New Blood's great, but Resurrection is phenomenal, and season 2 is coming back very shortly. So that is your TV suggestion of the week. Here is a Kenmore Clear, Kenmore fridge filter. We got a new fridge for, my wife and I got a new fridge for our anniversary gift to ourselves last October. And in doing so, we no longer needed the filter for our previous fridge. And so I said, oh, I bet that's worth good money. We pay, I don't know how much we pay. She buys them. But for filters. And so I said, oh, we'll list that. And it's worth absolutely nothing. And it sold for $3 going to Crown Point, Indiana. So you know what? Maybe I should have just thrown it away. But you know what? $3 is $3. And our final sale of the weekend has a little story behind it. These came from that Ben Franklin general store buy. They were 50 cents a piece, so $1. They were originally new in their package. I don't really want to open them because they hurt my fingers. I was going to lie to you and say they were hard to open. But in reality, they are hard to open, but they really just hurt my fingers, and I don't want to open them. Tootsie Toy. They're old, but here's the thing. They were originally new in the package, and Lane and Lincoln got their grubby mitts on them and opened them, and not only opened them, but the front plates of them came off. So really hurt the value there opening those up. However, if they wouldn't have opened them, I wouldn't have known what car was inside. You know what I mean? So I would have had to open it. The packaging didn't say what was inside. I would have had no clue. They're buses. Anyway, I know what you're thinking. You seriously just still listed them. Why didn't you just give them to Lane and Lincoln? Lane and Lincoln have 3 Hot Wheels cases jam-packed to the brim, darn near breaching the meniscus, if you will. They don't need any more cars, but they sold for $6, and they're going to Barboursville, West Virginia. What was your favorite sale of the weekend? The cap gun's cool. Scooby would be cool. The replica gas pump is really cool too. But this is going to win my favorite item of the week because how absolutely adorable is that? So I will see you probably next week, and we will hopefully talk about another great 11 or more sales next weekend. Have a lovely week, and I hope everyone enjoyed WrestleMania.